I had a really cool thing, like in terms of how I was going to introduce this episode, and I've completely. This is why you should write stuff down. I think it was something along. Oh, you know what it was like? It was something along the lines of, "Hello, everyone, and welcome to Experience Share. We've always got your back on the path to the top." There we go. It was like something really like cheesy and cringe, but it's okay because we're here now. I must say, more hotly anticipated than I think any of us were ever expecting. I was like, hey, let's do a podcast. And then people were like, whoa, more podcast content? I should preface, hi, I'm Relic, by the way, that we have had the blessing of the Cowboy Man over on You're on Fire, and indeed the smartest man in Pokemon Unite, Zoinks, on your favorite Unite competitive podcast, Overdunk. So welcome to Experience Share, which is a little bit more. Yeah, it encompasses everything, and it's a little bit more chill, and it's a little bit. I say it's a little bit more wishy-washy. It's not quite wishy-washy. It's more about the vibes and the experience, and well, sharing. And what better a panel to share our first episode with than all of these people to my right, left, I don't know, depends on the perspective, right? Welcome to your recurring cast for the podcast. And should we go down the line? Should we welcome first and foremost one of the most handsome men in Pokemon Unite? Sign it off, guaranteed. It's Buzzer Bob. How you doing, my man?
Such a lie. That is such a lie.
We don't lie on this podcast. That's going to come back to haunt me. That's going to haunt me like immediately. We never lie on this podcast.
No, I'm happy to be here. Listen, I'm just happy to be surrounded by a lot of talented folks right now. I'm big fans of the Unite scene, both competitive and casual. So I feel like I'm going to fit in just fine here, and here to have a good time and not make bad jokes when I can. So.
Bad jokes. I'm here for bad jokes as well. I'd be delighted. Someone who is by far and like nowhere close to a joke. In fact, many would call her queen. She goes beep beep in the car. She asks amazing questions. She casts amazing matches. She is amazing. It's Sophchan. How are we doing?
I totally forgot that I was here. I was like totally listening to the podcast as if I wasn't a guest. I completely zoned out. Hi, everybody. I'm this association Jigglypuff. That's me. So, yeah, happy to be here. So excited about talking a bit on Worlds, talking a bit on 2026, and just the general vibes that we have, competitive or otherwise, and with these beautiful people alongside me. So yeah, great vibes.
Great vibes indeed. We promise that we haven't stolen them from Overdunk. We promise this isn't deja vu. This was planned in advance. Welcome, first and foremost, Kelosaurus, as we go down the line. Or good morning, Kelosaurus, I should say. Hope you're doing well. Good vibes, I imagine, especially post-Worlds as well. What an experience that was.
Yeah, really. Well, this is the show, Experience Share, where we share those experiences, right? And yes, it was a fantastic experience. Obviously, the other 3 here, getting to experience that as well. Yeah, it was good fun. Still, coming down off that high though, and all the stimulation, and it's like, oh, back to reality. Oh, I don't know if I'm a fan of this.
Somebody who absolutely is in reality, because he only had to drive, 30-40 minutes to get to the venue. And I really should emphasize, I promise you, we're not stealing from Overdunk. We just so happen to share two of our guests this week. Welcome, Wonder Chef. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing great. It's morning for me as well. It's only 3:30 p.m., so just waking up. And no, I'm excited that there's still, I feel like a lot of years we get to Worlds and then Worlds ends and everybody's like, see you later, buddy. But we've had a lot of people like really, I think, excited over how things went and all the announcements that we have at the end of this Worlds. And so it doesn't feel like everybody's just taking a break. Like it's like, okay, well, let's talk about what we got in the future. And obviously, Kelo and I on 2 podcasts this week is a good sign of that, I think.
I promise you, we will try not to retread as much ground as possible. We will be talking about the World Championships we will also be talking about other things. Right, I've shambled my way through the intro. Let us then get into the meat and potatoes of what we're going to be chatting about. Upcoming, as I say, Worlds 2025. What did we enjoy? How was the experience outside of the venue? How was the experience behind the scenes? We're going to be diving into all of that. We're also going to be talking about that phone thing. I did say we would try not to retread ground. It's pretty important, although there should also be the proviso here that although we are talking competitive, this forms one part of our podcast, of our episode today, as we transition into checking out what the season and the year held. And I wouldn't say we're going to grade it necessarily, but what are our overall feelings about Unite for the 12 months just gone? And how is Unite going to fare in the 12 months coming up? We're going to be talking about the 4 confirmed Unite licenses. We're going to be checking out your wonderful suggestions. And I got to say, thank you, by the way, for like the 30 plus replies that came in on that tweet. There was a lot of suggestions. We'll try and get through as many of them as possible. But yeah, what's 2025? What's 2026? Going to look like? Certainly, I imagine a more positive tinge than perhaps what we would have said 12 months ago. But let's keep in the present, shall we? Worlds 2025. Anaheim, California. Location of the world's largest marble. It scared all the casters. I'm so glad that they're all safe and sound. Terrifying for me at home watching all of my wonderful casting family just running for their lives. And shout out to Jake the Content Cowboy for showing leadership and just saving all of you guys. But I've heard great food. I've seen great matches. I've seen a fantastic atmosphere. Let's go back down the other side of the line, shall we? Let's start with Wonder Chef, shall we? This is now your 3rd World Championships that you've done?
Well, 3rd for Unite, so and 5th overall for Pokemon because I did 2 for Pokken earlier. So I've been around for a little bit, and then I competed in one previously before that. So
Nice.
My first ever one was actually 2017 in Anaheim, and so I've gone full circle many years later, and seeing the difference between them is ridiculous. This was a huge event.
Well, I think kind of the biggest elephant in the room being the completely different room that was the arena. I mean, that was so cool to watch. But aside from that, I mean, just looking at, say, Saturday and Friday, from that first World Championships that you did attend, what are the major differences between that first event and where we are now?
Oh gosh, it's the size has literally more than tripled without a doubt. I remember back in 2017, it was just like a room that was in, I think, the convention center, and it was like not really marked out front. It wasn't like there was big signs. It was just kind of like, okay, we go in and you find the ballroom that it's in, and I think it might have been so the way that the entire convention center is set up is 3 big main halls, and I believe it was in one, and we took up 3 and the arena this time. So it's literally like not comparable. The size of that Worlds is less than regionals nowadays.
Yeah, it's kind of what I mean. Kelo, you've of course traveled all the way across the world from Australia to be at this World Championships. So this is now your 3rd World Championships, right? Yeah. So, I mean, I guess you've had a shorter amount of time to see from 3 years ago to now, but I think what at least enthused me, and I'm wondering whether you're going to agree with this, is just how more warmly welcomed Unite is as a presence, and especially on the opening up Sunday with the Mustachio Bros and their cape-head suits and the t-shirt cannon and everything. Like, at least from the outside looking in, Unite felt more at home in Anaheim than any World Championship before.
Well, yeah, this year was the first year that we ended up having Championship Sunday. The previous World Championships, we had to end our finals on the Saturday evening after all of the other titles had already finished. So I feel like, to have Unite make its mark, finally be accepted as part of one of those titles to be part of Championship Sunday, because that's just such a hype thing for everyone with all that happens. I'm really glad that we have the 3 days to enjoy Unite and not have to cram it all in the 2 days.
And I'm so glad that we're continuing that over multiple ICs as well. Like, for me, that's so nice to be like, even if it's just the grand finals. at least we're able to stretch our feet. But speaking of stretching feet, Miss Sophchan, from multiple world championships to your very first one, and of course your first time over in the States. This is off the back of your first ever LAN event. I know I had the privilege and the pleasure of hearing about all of your experiences as the weekend was going on and thereafter, but you had quite the experience as well, floating around the show floor and doing interviews all over the place.
Yeah, it was crazy doing more than one role for sure. Just kind of like just like LAIC. I did hosting there, but stage hosting this time for Worlds. I did casting and floor hosting, so more in the interviewing the players and talking to the audience, doing crowd work, which is something that I really, really enjoy. So that was incredibly fun. I did miss spending, you know, the days casting with you all because I only got to cast with a couple of people. Kelly wasn't one of them, unfortunately. But we had so many matches that we could cover, of course, and with a very big group as we had for our talent team, it was harder for them to schedule everybody in the best way possible. But the fact that I still got some casts in was super fun. Flying to another country to work is as magical as I thought it would be, maybe even more, because as you both have already said, Chef and Kelo, just the feeling that this world's had in comparison to anything that you have lived, but that I have watched in the other championships as well, that was just, it's just incomparable. You cannot make any sort of like, oh, this was, no, everything was different. The flow was different. The amount of people we had was different, from the talent team to the staff team to the players. The amount of teams that made it. The variety of metas that we were seeing through regions. The audience, just having the arena, everything was like next level. And I know that I've spoken to some people in production that have said, so if you need to, you know, lower your expectations, because this is being like your first big on another country event was definitely like so good that calm down. It's not going to always be as exciting as that.
Oh no, I don't think you should calm down. No, it's the World Championships, for goodness sake. It's a great opportunity to go out there and meet new people and do new things. And our content creator supremo here, Mr. Bob, honestly, living out a dream of mine, really, being able to take part in a game show hosted by Brian David Gilbert. And that was one of the things that you did out. You got to meet people at your own meet. Literally celebrity status over here. What a weekend for you.
Yeah, no, first of all, I want to thank Pokemon for sending me over as with free access to the event. It was my first Worlds ever. I went to EUIC for the first time this year. Yeah, high five. I went to EUIC for the first time this year, went to Worlds the first time this year. You're right, I did the game show. The VOD should be coming out soon, I've been told, hopefully. Excellent. For that. I did, no spoilers, but they did ask a Pokemon Unite question. So my reputation was on the line. But it was a lot of fun, and really just being there with a lot of people who just love Pokemon, whether you're there for Unite, whether you're there for VGC, TCG, Go. Pokemon is turning more into, like the Worlds event, it's turning more into a convention-like event. You have competitive in one window, but then you have this experience in another window where you want to just learn about the history of Pokemon. You want to meet some content creators. You want to do some side events. I did a Unite side event, which was a lot of fun. But no, I think just, and then of course, Championship Sunday in an arena. How awesome is that when you have a dynamic stage changing between each and every game? You have an audience cheering. You have pyrotechnics. You have smoke machines. You have T-shirt cannons. Like, it felt really surreal to be in that environment. And obviously, and not just because they're here, like these three folks right on this side, I think.
Other side.
They brought other side. They brought so much on the other side. They brought so much energy to Unite. And that's what I love about this game, is the excitement, is the play-by-play, is the commentary. It is an esports. It is an event type game that needs to have these big flashy screens and the teams and the backstory. So I think I think you all smashed it out of the park. I think Pokemon did a great job in Anaheim with this event, and I just love meeting people. I'll close off with this. Going back to the game show, just someone I never met before. It was just a random person came up to me. I was in the halls doing my pin trading, and they came up to me and they go, "Are you Bob?" I go, "Yes." And she goes, "I watched you on the game show in the audience. You are fantastic. I want to follow you for more stuff." So it's things like that where it makes me so warm and fuzzy inside that I made an impact on someone in a just an entertainment way. And that's who I am. I'm all about entertainment. So that was really cool to get that feedback from some people at the event.
I know exactly what you mean. Speaking of EUIC, I remember going, it was the end of day 2, I think I want to say, and I was going home with the lads. And out of nowhere, someone's like, "Oh, hey, the casters, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And it was El Chico Eevee. And I'm just like, finally putting a face to it. And I honestly, you don't, I think, understand the privilege of being asked, "Can I have a photo with you?" until it's actually happened to you. It's you think you know how it's going to go, and then it's just it's so completely different as a scenario for it. It's like some of us are able to take it in their stride because they're just super cool people, and I think for a lot of us though, it's like it's a very community thing, Pokemon. We've all kind of risen up to where we are because of work that we've put in and connections that we've made, and to see that pay off in that way when people are recognizing you and celebrating you for your work, it's not like anything else. But I think, Bob, you actually you put up a really good point there about how bouncing off Chef's point as well. Like, you got this huge venue, you got the arena, competitives in one place, but now you've got meet and greets, you've got these tables, you've got these side events, you've got all these different things going on. And for next year's Worlds, we're going to have the addition of Pokemon XP, this entire festival. And like, for me personally, this is just a culmination of everything that I could have possibly wanted. You've got 3 to 4 days of event space here where people are coming and getting their badges and spending 3 days on the bounce, watching people, interacting with people, meeting friends. Why not turn it into a festival atmosphere? This is all of my dreams come true. I'm so excited for 2026 San Fran. But what would you guys want to see? I'm going to just open the floor. Anyone feel free to step in. Like, what do you want to see from San Fran in general to take that next step up, so to speak?
For the experience or for the event?
For XP, for the main event, for whatever. Yeah.
Well, one thing that I think people maybe don't know as much just because it was hard for everybody to get there, but Pokemon Worlds in Japan really was kind of, I think, what Pokemon XP is going to be, is indescribable. I know Kelo knows, and she's nodding her head, because it was an entire city that was all Pokemon themed. Like, you could walk anywhere and everything was Pokemon, and it was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So I think that they really like that. Obviously, it's hard to set up an entire city close to Disneyland for something like that to happen, or on, in Hawaii. Like, it's tough. So I do think that they're trying to recreate that experience, and it was awesome. So all I want is for them to match up all the different stuff that we got to do in Japan.
That sounds amazing. I was personally thinking it might be a bit, just coming from my point of view, from the work I did during the weekend. I would love to see us exploring more this floor host role in every game, so that we're actually integrating the people that are in the experience to come to the broadcast as well. Say a little bit, just invite them over, or maybe have someone as in it was a work I did for Intel. I was booth host, so it was inviting people that were watching the tournament to come and play the games. In this case, we'd be inviting the people from Pokemon XP to be like, "Oh, do you want to watch competitive play?" Have somebody that is actually trying to gather people and just do some announcements. "Oh, we got the semifinals for Unite coming up," or something like that. That is not just for the people that were already going to watch competitive, but to try and bring the other people that were just there casual and be like, "Oh yeah, okay, I don't have anything more to do. I've already traded my cards. I've bought some boosters. Yeah, I can watch some." So having that be even more well announced so that we integrate the two events and atmospheres together would be really fun.
I'm sorry, I'm taking two turns, but one thing that happened 2 times in London, and it happened once for me with Pokken, and it happened once for me with Unite, that I saw at least, so probably has happened multiple times. So for anybody who knows, the Excel Center has a gigantic screen outside of it,
It does. Yeah.
right at the very front, and during some of the days, they will just play the broadcast up there, and they specifically for finals, I have seen videos of both from Pokken and from Unite, because the games are so. I mean, Unite is such an exciting game that people who don't know what's going on, I think, kind of they pay more attention to it when it just happens to be on. So I do really hope that they do a good job of showing just that the events happening outside to the experience, because sometimes, they'll do stuff with like seating, or they'll just have a screen where they get to show things. And if they throw up Unite, I guarantee you there's going to be a bunch of people that are like, I didn't even know that this was a game. What is this? This is awesome. These people are like yelling about it. Like, this is so exciting. And then they're going to get into it because it's just that type of game.
It
Yeah.
reminds me of, I don't know if you remember, Chef, we actually had the shopping center, the hotel where our the shopping center where our hotel was in Japan. They
Mhm.
had TVs set up in there that were showing, I think it was highlights, or maybe they had the broadcast during the actual show day. But I know even then, when returning back to the hotel, those TVs were playing and they had Unite on there. And I'm like, whoa, what's so I completely agree with that sentiment in terms of just having it outside of that specific venue. And I totally, love the idea of, just that competitive and that casual side coming together. And it's just this whole celebration of Pokemon and everything that makes Pokemon loved and so great overall, just all melded together. So yeah, very much excited to see what they do with that, and hoping they take inspiration, I guess, with what they did with Japan. One of the things that I guess I missed seeing this year, and I guess considering the location of where it was, but previously we had the drone shows in Japan and Hawaii. We didn't end up having that this year, or we didn't have like any evening shows after the actual event was done. So I would love to see more things come into play where they had, I know even in Japan they had, I mean, obviously they probably have the resources and everything there, but they had the Pikachu shows, and they had like I think they had an orchestra show or something there as well. So
Anything you
it's
could think
not
of.
yeah, it's not just the things that happen in that venue, in that event. It was the stuff that also happened afterwards as well, and it's pretty much just jam-packed full weekend. No rest. Sorry, no sleep for you folks here.
Anything for you, Bob?
I agree with. Oh yeah, I was gonna say I'm excited for the larger. I didn't go to Japan for Worlds, but I know a lot of friends who went there. So I lived through all the photos and videos, and I think Chef, you're right. Having this in a citywide experience to just kind of bring Pokemon to like street level and just be surrounded by it, it's gonna be fantastic. I think. I mean, I just want more Pocket representation. I love Pokemon Pocket. I know we had some great side events going on at Worlds this year, which was really great. They used the double deck format and they had great pricing too. And so I think keeping those side events engaging for a lot of new and returning players, it's a great way to learn about Unite. It's a great way to learn about Go and TCG and VGC. So keeping that going. I loved going back to the game show thing, having that, that's the B stage, I guess, to have like those activations. We had cosplay contests, we had an early showing of the Pokemon Center, and just those types of events that if we can broadcast out more would be great. I know Pokemon still wants to make sure that competitive is still on their main channels. I totally get that, but I noticed they started using like Instagram Live for showing some of the B stage stuff. So again, because Chef, you have so many great points. Using those outside screens to showcase some like what's going inside the convention. So showing Unite matches, showing TCGs, showing cosplay. I think it's just great to kind of like share the world of Pokemon from different sides of the scene. So whether you're competitive or you're just more of just a casual player, there's something for everybody. So I think take what you did at Worlds and just amplify it more for next year and just get more people excited and involved in Pokemon, because I think we're in a great spot with it right now. So lots of good stuff coming.
I'm going to echo that, certainly. I think with XP, they've got a very unique opportunity to draw in the more casual Pokemon enjoyers and introduce them to competitive for the first time. Vice versa, I think that there's a lot of people who are very locked in to competitive Pokemon, and sometimes you kind of lose yourself and think, wait, there's this whole, I can play a game for fun. Like, I don't have to necessarily play it just to go out there and compete. I can enjoy myself and indulge in all of these really cool activities. I think at Worlds 2022, which was, of course, in London, and so I was able to attend myself. They had this wonderful little mini festival, some of the best wheel cakes I've ever tasted, arts and crafts. Like, it was, really cool family-based area where... And that's just a tiny area outside of the XL. They're going to have this whole festival now. They're going to have the entire convention center, and they're going to have the Chase Center. And speaking of the arena, I think actually, for the first time, we saw Pokemon pioneering. I think, unfortunately, Pokemon's kind of the butt of the joke when it comes to esports a lot of the times, because it's like, it's always behind, it's always catching up, this, that, whatever, slander, VM, whatever. Seeing the floor utilized to show health bars and to show cards used in TCG and to show off status conditions in VG. That's stuff that League of Legends doesn't have. And so I think that is wonderful. And if they're able to keep on pioneering in that way, I think that they've got a really, really good thing going. Although I'm absolutely on board with make the city your playground almost. There's so much that you can do with it. Go all in, or as much in as you can. Please take us back to Japan for 2027. I think everyone's in agreement on that. But... as much as there was some wonderful things, yes. In fact, there were many, many, many wonderful things. I hear the food was excellent all round. I definitely feel I missed out. There was a Cheesecake Factory right opposite the Anaheim Convention Center. I was literally crying in my... forgot to go, and I was crying in my sleep. Tears were shed. San Fran next year, fingers crossed. But there was...
Before we move on, shout out to my friend Falconer, the one who actually designed and programmed the LED panels on the floor of the stage. Shout out to
Hey.
Falconer, you're the GOAT. You are the GOAT. Please do more of that next year. Thank you.
Let's go.
This has been your PSA. Please also set rules with less loopholes and less uncertainty before next year as well. Yes, we are going to talk about the phone thing. I think we're going to be pretty brief about it, especially since Kelo and Chef have both shared their thoughts on Overdunk. I feel like the general vibe is, yes, okay, it happened. Whatever the rule set is going forward, of which shout out to Play Pokemon for putting out a statement with Pokemon Unite. We wouldn't have had that in previous years. That is a step forward. But the fact that we saw such a controversial decision taken mid-weekend, even if it was somewhat alleviated halfway through day 2. I mean, goodness knows, Peru were using a bunch of rental phones and they went on to be world champions, so it couldn't have been that awful. But nevertheless, like, these sorts of things really unsettle teams, and if there is one team which I sympathize with, it's High Five, because they went from one of the best looking teams on day 1 to completely crashing out in day 2, and that's just unfortunate. But hey, at least we've got some idea that we're going to be moving forward with a more standardized rule set. I know, Chef, that you've seen a lot of mobile esports, and this is kind of like, this is kind of what people look for in terms of your Mobile Legends Bang Bang and Honor of Kings and stuff.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of mobile esports from back before it was quite as big. Back, I've done some stuff on like Vainglory, and I've done stuff on World of Tanks Blitz, and I've done stuff on, there's just a bunch of different things. And of course I'm talking about production side. And then I've also seen, bigger stuff now that like Honor of Kings is so big. And then I can't even remember what that, I don't know, there's a million of them now, obviously. But there are I'll repeat probably a couple points here that I also said on Overdunk, which is there are always problems with mobile esports. It is one of the most difficult things in the entire world. I've had a million nightmare stories. I've had shows where we've had to cover up sponsor devices with like gaff tape and then pretend that we were using them even though we were using iPads. I've had ones where they just straight up just didn't work, and so I do understand, of course, the standardization. I think most people do, right? I feel like that's probably not most people's problem. It's the way that it was done, I guess, the time frame that it was done in. So I do like the message that we got, and I do think that, of course, announcing that before the season starts is like perfect. It's exactly when you want to announce it. Hopefully we get the actual phone soon, or device, I guess. I assume it's a phone, but yeah, mobile's rough.
It's kind of weird wordage, isn't it? It's like 75 days before the World Championships, but really, you think that it should be. And my problem here is, and I know, Kelo, you've spoken about it. I know, Soph, obviously, you've been in the deep end with me in terms of figuring out like sponsorships and partnerships and how that all works. And Bob, I'm sure that you've got that production sort of side of it as well, in terms of how many things can go wrong and often do go wrong with any sort of live show. But I feel like this is a very tight turnaround now that they've set themselves. If it is going to be 75 days before, we're assuming, the season starts, which again, we're assuming will be LAIC. We haven't had any concrete data on that yet. But if they're going to try and wrap up a deal with, say, Republic of Gamers, who provided a bunch of monitors for the Japanese regionals, well, okay, you've got not a lot of time to get that thing over the line. Because if there is anything to be said about this update to the ruling, or this clarification as to how we're going to move forward, I'm not going to say it feels last minute. It does feel like a swerve from where we were currently. So any thoughts on what we should be doing in terms of expectations for the Pokemon Company, or TPCI themselves, and the players? You know, how much patience should they reasonably be expected to have in this situation?
I guess one of the biggest things or questions in my head is, I guess, the logistical side of things. So, say for example, okay, all 10 players are on mobile phone. That's probably not going to happen because I know there's obviously going to be switches in there.
Yeah.
But say they do have 10 mobile phone devices available for main stage. Plus, they'll obviously have those for B stage and some backups, but it's more the in-game stuff, right? So players, I'm guessing, like, that's the thing, I'm not sure, are they going to be sharing phones kind of thing? So do they have to log on, log off? That takes time. One of the biggest issues with those rental phones is, well, their settings that the players then have to go and change. They have to be given time to actually change these settings to suit themselves. Camera sensitivity, even, just you look through the options in Pokemon Unite, and whatever tailors to that player experience. If it's a rental phone, then every match that they end up going onto, then they're going to have to go and reset these settings, and it's just, that takes a lot of time. And that's probably one of my biggest concerns is, those, I'm pretty sure whenever you log on to a new device, those settings don't actually end up carrying over. You have to set those up each and every time. So I'm wondering whether, it's not just the hardware side of things. It's also have to come down to the internal in-game systems as well. I know they've recently implemented the thing in the tournament section where players can actually change their names in lobby, which is great because, obviously maybe that's, contributing to this. I'm not sure whether that was part of the plan or anything, but once again, yeah, name change is one thing. Settings is another thing, but also item builds. Players are actually going to need to remember what items they run on each Pokemon. A lot of these are preset by the players. So, I feel like there's a lot more. It's bigger than it's, from the casual viewer. it's a much bigger umbrella that needs to be covered, and all of these things need to be addressed before they actually head on in. For example, LAIC, they need to make sure they iron out all of these kinks first, and be proactive rather than reactive. And I think that's the scary part is, obviously we learn from our mistakes and all of this stuff, but you want to try and make that first integration as smooth as possible in order for people to actually believe in it and for people to actually want to continue, be motivated to continue forward with competing. That we don't want to let people down, kind of thing. So I think that's probably my biggest concern. I overthink things clearly.
No,
I think those are so valid.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of have to overthink things, right? So far, I know that we've obviously come from a bunch of different esports as well, where logging into your account is the standard. When it comes to studio, when it comes to LAN events or in-person events, whatever you're going to call them, I think what people maybe have to understand is there will probably still be tech difficulties, but this is kind of aiming towards the lesser of two evils. Because it's one thing to say we're going to spend 5 to 10 minutes logging in and making sure that all of our settings are okay, and another thing where the cable doesn't connect and then all of a sudden you're Talon versus Downs Esports and you're literally having to forfeit a series, or forfeit a game rather, because the tech issues have gone on for too long.
Yeah, I'm feeling like the only real way to tackle that in regards to like the settings and sensitivity, the commands, the A and Bs, and whatever you choose for your attacks and stuff, the overlays. I think it would have to be like a joint effort with developer to actually have your account always has a locked setting, and whenever and wherever you log into a new device, that setting will still carry over, and that will actually like help, because logging in is not that long. You log in, that's fine. In the tournament, there's already going to be, if you are using the predetermined devices, there's always going to be a established time that players will need to log in. That's going to be thought out. But then if you don't have to think about changing your movement, your attacks, your everything's in the settings, then it's much quicker. It's just logging in. So that would actually have to be like really happen, because what the majority of other esports, like similar to Unite, that are on a 5v5 basis, is that they are usually played live, like they're usually played on site. So you're always going to have the same PCs. Those players have been playing on the same PCs on every single week after game, and that's not the same for us, because players are going to play with what they have at home. Do you give, for example, I was like thinking with my my two little brain cells, how could you even fix that in a league system? Because in the league system, supposedly you would have the certainty that some teams would be kind of like franchised into being in the league. So maybe Pokemon would give them the devices so that they're always going to be training on the devices in which they're going to play on LAN. But how do you deal with the open tournaments on the ICs? Are people going to have an edge because they have already been playing on something that's standardized? It's very difficult because of this nature of having open and not open tournaments that Pokemon has for Unite, and the fact that we do majority online as well. So it's hard.
I have there's a few potential like mini solves as far as like taking up less time. One would be if you have the actual exact device that is the normal device of the season, like you can use your own device, like you can get okay for that, and then obviously that would save time. But then also the one big benefit that we have of it being mobile devices is when a team is playing, of course behind the scenes, the next teams are behind the stage waiting, essentially. And so we could theoretically give them a second set of devices and have them start changing their settings as the previous match, I guess, is actually ongoing. So we get to save a little bit of time. Obviously, this is all a lot more work and a lot more coordination, but just some thoughts.
So having 20 devices on hand, rather than just say the 10 that are on that main stage, they have that rotation
Yeah.
between those sets.
At least, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Pokemon has money, and if I
whoa,
Pokemon has money, and the way I won't talk too much about this, but the way I would go about this situation, I'm all for having a standard device that they play on. That doesn't mean anyone can just go out and buy the device. It's going to cost money, and I understand the frustration that some team members might have about that, but taking small steps to make this the norm, like, yeah, Pokemon, just get hundreds. You can get 100 Android devices. I think if you need to like loan them out for a certain period of time to a team that's competing on stage or just at the event, that they can have their own device that they use for the entire weekend. They can practice with their team. They can get the settings on there. And then having somebody, I know we have a lot of great talented people who work behind the scenes on production who's there to tech support. If you need someone from, Samsung there or something, if you need someone that can be there to maybe do more deep dive device, I'm gonna say defragging, but that's like PC stuff there or debugging. Just having the resources available. I think being able to like lend out devices to teams in the competitive circuits so that, if Pokemon says, hey, we're gonna lend you these devices here for the season, you can practice, you can do what you need on it. And then of course, if you lose it, then maybe you gotta pay something, but at least give teams the tools they need to be successful. A lot of times when you ask someone to pay out of pocket, it can really hurt them. And they don't want to feel like that playing a game that they really love and want to go for that championship title and be held back by purchasing a phone or just a device to practice on. So I think as we hear more, as this unfolds over time, I like to see Pokemon maybe step up a little bit to maybe soften the blow and offer some of these loaner devices, services to teams to practice. And at the end of the day, if it makes the games go by quicker, setup is much more smoother, production is being able to cycle through games, everyone, I think, at the end will become happy as we see progress being made towards that standardization of using devices for Unite.
I think, as always, it's easy to look at the face of change and be hesitant, pessimistic. And certainly as we go into looking at season 4 of UCS and year 4 of Pokemon Unite in general, I think that pessimism is understandable. But I also think that we've seen in these World Championships specifically the opportunity for change and progression which has been actually enacted. We've seen huge step-ups in production quality. We've seen this issue, which has been an issue for the last 3-4 years, at every single in-person event that you could possibly think of, it's finally being addressed. Let's not say, oh, took you long enough. Let's say, okay, you've now made that change. We've now made that active decision. How can we make this transition as seamless as possible for everybody? If we are to start with LAIC, it's going to be pretty interesting, but we'll get there when we get there. Season 4 of UCS, year 4 of Pokemon Unite, I think it's fair to say that a lot of people were quite afraid for the game. I think there was a lot of focus on the Chinese version, and then a lot of focus on how little of the Chinese version we ultimately got in those opening few months. But I would like to believe that it has actually ended on a high. And certainly when we look at the competitive scene in particular, the amount of people who come to me saying, yo, the reason why I'm so excited about Pokemon Unite right now is the championship series. Like, fair play to putting on another year of just, and shout out to the players who've committed to putting on another year of just fantastic competition.
Great. I will agree and go to the restroom, and you guys go ahead.
No, no worries. The screen's gone blank. She's gone.
Man,
just turn off all the lights.
Yep.
But I mean, genuinely, although it's ended on a high, yes, do we understand why people were so pessimistic, though? I mean, especially when there are still so many features that we're waiting. I mean, goodness knows, that auto chess could be a game on its own, and yet we still haven't got it.
injected.
Give me the lobby. Give me the lobby. I want to wander around with my Pokemon and pick pictures and all of that jazz. Please. Oh.
I think everybody's pretty positive though after this Worlds. That's something I mentioned at the start of this whole thing is that I feel like after last Worlds our announcements was Masquerada last Worlds or was that the one before? That was last Worlds, right? I don't remember. But it was 3 Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
It was just 3 Pokemon. It was just a trailer and everybody was like,
Psyduck?
really?
Psyduck was the
Psyduck,
first.
Darkrai,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But basically it was just 3 Pokemon. Everybody was like, that's really it. Because what was it? London where they got to announce
new map.
like Sky Ruins, and then it's like, okay, are we just done making new things? And then if I'm being critical, I think our trailer could have been a little bit more hype. They were just like, by the way, Groudon, that's cool. It was like, what? Come on, hype that up a little bit, please. But it was still very cool that we're getting new stuff and new objective and big changes, and obviously we all knew that from the director's letter, I guess you could call it. But this is definitely the most positive that I think people have felt about the games post Worlds since London.
I think the thing is, while they did do the director's letter already addressing, Groudon's coming and everything, not everybody reads that.
Yeah,
I feel like they
that's
could have
true.
fleshed out Groudon a lot more and hyped it up a lot more, and been able to demonstrate because, not everybody reads the director's letters. There's probably a lot of casual fans out there that probably haven't played the game in a while, or even, just people that haven't even tried out Unite, and Groudon might just be one of their favorite Pokemon, and it's like, oh, that might be the thing that entices them to go and try it. So I think while the 3 new Pokemon that we're getting are pretty hype, which will, come later, I feel like Groudon should have been a bigger focus and given a lot more time than it actually was.
I agree. I mean, the reactions to the 3 new Pokemon in the stadium was fantastic. I think the crowd really loved them, especially seeing Empoleon and Vaporeon. I mean, Dhelmise, I'm excited for. I'm so excited to play that mon.
Same.
But to echo those points, I think for excitement to continue with the game, it just can't be Pokemon announcements. It just doesn't do enough. Groudon, did it say Groudon? Groudon? It's Groudon. It's Rayquaza. It's Rayquaza.
It's
folks.
always been Rayquaza.
We knew that.
Well, us Unite folks have known for years, so we've known.
Yeah.
They need to do more, like, yes, inject auto chess into my veins directly, please. I love Electrode Volleyball so much.
Yes.
It's just you need to evolve the game aside from just updating the roster. I don't want it to fall into the camp of, again, using Pocket as an example. They're releasing sets way too fast, I think. I'm all for like some new mods, like 1 here, 1 there, 2 here. That's fine, but to keep the game excited for the next season 5, you need to have those in-game enhancements to really shine. And I'm optimistic. I think we're gonna have a great year 5 for Pokemon Unite. Just give me those lobbies. Like Kelo said, give me those lobbies so I can walk around with my Pokemon, please, before they go into the fray and take all the AOS energy from everybody else, please. Thank you.
I hope we get a lot more of those mini games, all those quick. I don't know. I don't even know what you classify Electro Volleyball as. A quick mode, I guess.
The
but
main game mode, duh.
to me, it's
The
okay,
main
fair
game
enough. That makes sense. But
I know Chef's a big fan of us. Yeah.
Like, no spoilers for those folks that haven't actually seen much from the China version. They have so many of those little mini games. There is one that does feature Slowbro, and I really want that one. But I hope that we end up seeing more of those being implemented into Pokemon Unite, because it's not just, Pokemon Unite, Thea Sky Ruins. There's just so much more to Pokemon Unite that they could do outside of that they have already started exploring in the China version, which I'm hoping that we also end up getting, because it's as I said, it's not just going into Thea Sky Ruins and battling it out. It's a whole experience, right? Want to experience it all.
Pokemon XP. That's what it is.
Yeah,
It's true.
exactly.
It's an experience that we all want to share.
Mm.
So here's where I'm at, right? I think people like to complain a lot. And I think that people like to conveniently forget the good things that did happen during a year. We got way more consistent patches this year, which is a request which was very much wanted. Are the patches still kind of weird sometimes? Yeah. But I think that, honestly, the last few months been pretty good. I'd say the balance of the game might honestly be as good as it has ever been. Yes, we know Suicune's very powerful. But apart from that, I think it's pretty good. Also, shout out to the developers eating some humble pie and doing away with EX licenses. That was this year.
That's
and
crazy.
I think that has led into these balance patches being a lot more warmly accepted. Yes, I know your favorite Pokemon got a nerf stray out of... I'm sure Cramorant's going to get nerfed in the next patch or something. But overall, it's a much more positive feeling. And so let's turn that looking glass to 2025, to 2026, to Season 5 of the Unite Championship Series, and to Groudon. We'll start with Groudon, we'll move on into the licenses. Groudon changes everything, even though the map doesn't change completely. Why? Because of the nature of the final stretch. For the 4 years thus far, Pokemon Unite is a 2 minutes and flip. Less aggressively so with Rayquaza, but I think some people would even argue that it's more aggressive now than it was when Rayquaza first dropped, when it was actually significantly more difficult to take the objective down in the first place. I think teams have now gotten so good it doesn't matter either way. They can come back, they can do whatever, they can backcap if they're absolute mad lads. But the fact now that we have a transferable buff at the final stretch that, yes, Groudon is important, but it's what you do in the seconds after Groudon goes down. So much more of a heavy emphasis on that. It completely, for me, revolutionizes the final 2 minutes of Unite into something that just flat out feels more fair and far more easy on the eye to enjoy as a spectator.
No more surrendering at 1 minute 50 mark as soon as Rayquaza is taken.
You know,
People are actually
absolutely,
going to
yeah, for
like a
real.
whole 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No more surrendering.
It's not even just about competitive. It's like Kelly said, it's the casual player being like, okay, we can actually turn this one around. And I totally agree. Like, it feels like such a breath of fresh air for the game, because we've had this style of take the objective, most likely you win the game for the majority of this game's existence. So having that also takes away the feeling of we need to take this objective down first. It's not about taking it first. It's not about giving that last hit either. Because if you just forfeited the last hit, but you then go for the fight, you get it anyway. So I think that opens quite a lot of versatility of gameplay that is interesting to casual and competitive alike, where you get more strategic fights, especially if they do go ahead with not having those two tall grass close to the objective.
Right.
If they remove those, like we've seen, crazy talk in how people are going to be approaching the final stretch, because usually people, for example, we saw Zeta Division against Aegis Flames, that game we casted together, Chef. Aegis Flames was caught on a face check twice, and that costed them the series, right? Mm-hmm. So it's something that might not happen because people are going to have a much more proactive positioning and control over the central area for the final stretch. On top of, are you fighting for the objective? Are you fighting for the rip? Are you fighting to turn it back around? Are you fighting to fake out? Sometimes go for a back cap, allow them to take the objective, but then go for a full-on defense where you defend, get the objective back for yourself, and then push as well. You know, so many different things that can come. And Kelly like, whoa. Yeah, so many different things.
Just opened up.
Yeah, the opportunities, like the possibilities are endless. And I love that for Unite. And it's really going to make it feel, I know that the mini games really do bring something good and exciting for everybody. But personally, speaking as just me, Soph, I was never a big fan of playing any mini games aside from the main game on any game I've ever played. So I am totally on the main game. I'm so happy that we're getting things for everybody because the game does deserve having more quick battles and more fun, interesting things to shake it up. But to me, my focus is, you made Thea Sky Runes more exciting? Yes, that's what I'm looking for.
Okay, here's something that I want to gather the thoughts from. I'm looking at you, Bob, and Chef in particular. I would like to know if Groudon is a band-aid, and if the effect is going to wear off sooner rather than later, or if it really is that much of a game changer that we're going to go through the entirety of Season 5, and we might look at Season 6 ahead and say, yeah, absolutely, let's go for another round.
Got to go first.
Yeah, sure. I think that there are still a lot of questions. I think that a lot of what makes, if I'm being honest, like a lot of what makes Rayquaza really good right now, which is kind of an unspoken thing, is how much damage you deal to the other team the moment that you take Rayquaza. And that's why, like, a lot of times you don't even see people having to fight with the shields, right? Like, if people are separated and all, like, across the map, like, people go in and defend. But a lot of times with either when it was Zapdos or with Rayquaza, a lot of it is just kind of like what else it does alongside giving you the buffs. Because right now, if it's going to just basically, destroy the entire other enemy team and they're not going to have a chance to fight back, well, it could end up being a relatively similar situation. There's also questions about like how fast it makes you score, and there's questions about, is Groudon going to have more life, or like we could end up being in a situation where it does feel maybe a little bit band-aidy, where it feels like, okay, well, we're still kind of playing a similar game. Or there could be situations where everybody has to rethink the game, where it's like, okay, well, we really don't get that much for winning the 2-minute mark. We're gonna have to start playing comps that are, better at holding on to the lead in the mid game and early game, and we're not gonna be able to make these big comebacks, and that could change the game completely. So I feel like we don't have enough information yet. But that's kind of exciting in its own way. And I mean, we're only like a week away from seeing, so we'll see soon.
Yeah, I want to see the numbers behind this. I think just figuring out just the statistics of what is Groudon like the time of the effects, how much attack power you're getting, how much scoring speed is impacting. Because a lot of times when you get into these Rayquaza fights, it's either you wipe out 80% of the team at least, and then you just take Rayquaza and you have one poor soul trying to like recoup anything that's been left of it. Or we've seen just full 5-on-5 fights at Rayquaza, which will be really exciting to see now with Groudon, that you can just instantly just snipe the effects back, and now you're in control, and now you're going to go to their bases and dunk. So I do think it is a band-aid to see how this works. Obviously, I think the competitive scene and just everybody who's just playing Unite, we will be vocal about it. We'll say the goods, the bads, we'll have our own experiences, but we really have to see this play out to see, okay, how does this compare to Rayquaza? Is it better? Is it worse? You knock out an opponent, you steal those buffs. What if someone comes and knocks you out? Do you steal those back? How long are those active for? I know after getting hit with Rayquaza shields, it goes away. Is it the same for like you said, Chef? We just don't know the numbers behind this, and then once we start seeing that come through, we'll have a better idea about it.
I certainly do think it's the start of. Oh, go on. Sorry.
I was going to say, I'm hoping we don't have another Rayquaza situation when Groudon is released, because I'd say majority of people, if you actually remember back then when Rayquaza was first released, it had a higher HP pool, the scoring speed a lot less, and they ended up changing all of those stats. And well, I feel like after that, Rayquaza ended up becoming worse and a lot more similar to what Zapdos was.
Yeah.
And they never ended up reverting it back after that. So I'm hoping that, okay, if Groudon isn't working at first, let's adjust it, try it out. And if it still isn't working, I'm hoping that they go in and they adjust it again. It's not just here's a release, here's one band-aid to try and fix this, but then never actually go and touch it again, even though, we've had this for a while, and I feel like, yes, Groudon and everything that Groudon will bring is a positive thing, but then it's also, well, why couldn't they end up just fixing Rayquaza in the past? After that first adjustment is, yeah, but the past is a past. We're moving forward, so it doesn't matter. Just hopefully they don't make mistakes again.
But that's exactly why it does matter, Kelly, because I think you're spot on the money. When you look at that original Rayquaza release, from a competitive standpoint, it was way more fair, because you're thinking, okay, yes, you get the Rayquaza buff, but it's manageable. If you are a team on the defense, and if you're able to get your acts together, it's actually not, I'm not going to say it's not too difficult to defend your zones, but it's certainly a heck of a lot more difficult than where we are now, where the attack boost, the scoring speed boost, it's very difficult unless you are focusing on dismantling an individual shield. And even then, if you've got 2, 3 enemy team members running out of this fight, there's going to be a couple of 100 scores, in which case you're then on the back foot. You are hoping that you've got the rest of your team back with a minute to go, so you could maybe go for a counter push. I think Groudon, the difference here is in that transferable buff for me. Because rather than saying, you've lost Rayquaza, you now forfeit that buff, you are never going to get it. Now, because it's transferable, there is an enticing reward for actually continuing the fight and the opportunity to even the playing field again, if not completely turn it around. Soph has hands on face. She's eager to jump into the conversation. Go, dive in.
So, I'm gonna bring a very hot take that I just concocted in my brain. Hear me out. This is a hear me out moment. Groudon doesn't actually give, that's my envisioning. Groudon does give you the shield with the accelerated score, but it doesn't give you extra damage, because we know how that can be difficultly balanced. Instead, Groudon actually spawns at 230, while you still have both Regis on the board. So there's going to be interest in trying to get more damage for you or more defense for you on a bottom Regi, or maybe going for the Regieleki, where you can push and actually have a counter offer that is actually at the same time as Groudon, that being possible if Groudon actually has a lot of HP. So you're going for something that takes a lot more time, but the enemy team is like, okay, we're going for Registeel, so we're getting more damage, so we can fight you if you do get the Groudon. Or because Registeel is quicker, we go back and we fight you, and we can try to take you down on the pit itself. So things like this, I think, make a lot of sense coming from League of Legends, where you have objective trades all around. And Unite does have it with top Regi and bottom Regi, but you don't have it at a crucial moment of the game for final stretch. So if maybe you make it a little bit longer, which is usually the 30-minute before final stretch, you usually have one last Regieleki, one last Registeel, or something like that. You actually keep the timers the same for them, but the actual main objective for Groudon, it spawns a little bit earlier. So it creates a little more dynamic in how the players could choose to go about these fights and the objectives. And I feel like that could be really fun. I'm gonna send a letter to them right now, because I think that was genius.
To Mr. Unite.
I'll take note. Send it to through the ambassador program.
You know what? Yeah.
Right here.
You guys, I'll send the letter to you guys. You just sign my name on it, and you guys can send it to them.
Honestly, though,
gonna sit down. They can listen to it. It's fine.
but that's a fair point.
I'm not ambassador though.
We don't know if they're going to adjust the final stretch or not, which I think is as Chef is saying, it's kind of exciting that we don't know. And so we will hold on with bated breath. There's also other things that I would like to, I think we're at a stage now where 3 bans in draft is something which is absolutely something that we should be looking at, especially given, whoa, segue, all of the new licenses that we're getting. They committed to 2 per month until the end of the year. And shout out to, I'll be talking about Mr. Unite, Mr. Pokemon himself on stage, hard committed to the future of Unite, saying, we certainly hope to introduce many more licenses to this game. Music to the ears of anyone who absolutely wants Pokemon Unite to succeed. and I think we are on the way up. But we've already mentioned Empoleon, Dhelmise. Oh, Dhelmise, what a great... I mean, Spraggles was out of his seat. Vaporeon, and of course, before all that, next week, September 4th, we got Pawmot coming to the game as well. Yes, I know. It's 2 more all-rounders. Woe is everyone who hates all-rounders. But I think that Dhelmise is such a... 3 all-rounders. Dhelmise is such a cool... I mean, it's a quintessential hook. And I know there's people out there who are convinced that telekinesis is a hook. Which also means, therefore, that Psyduck, Psychic, is a hook. No. Press button, displacement. Hit person, bring them back to you. That's a hook. Also, Dhelmise is quite literally the definition. So I'm really excited to see them. I guess, honestly, the one disappointment for me, and feel free to disagree, folks, is that Vaporeon isn't a supporter. I mean, it's another defender, which is great. The first one in over a year at this point, but I don't know. In my ideal headcanon, I would have liked a Flareon defender and a Vaporeon support.
Flareon all-rounder.
Yeah, Flareon kind of feels like an all-rounder to me, but I do agree that we don't need that many all-rounders.
No, that we need all-rounders, but it's just so we can have an evolution in each of the roles. Even though Umbreon, yes, it's a defender and can play as a supporter, it's classified as a defender. So the fact that, you think about Vaporeon, Jolteon, and Flareon, like out of those 3, the only one that would make sense as a supporter would be Vaporeon. So this takes away that opportunity of having an evolution as a supporter, unless we end up getting a new evolution in the future.
Excuse me?
I mean,
I would literally explode.
I'm of the opinion that I'd be shocked if we don't get a new Eevee. I mean, it's Gen 10. 30th anniversary of Pokemon. That feels like the time to introduce a new evolution. At least IMO.
Yeah. They could also do something like add like Mega Eevee,
Mega Eevee?
Mega Eevee. I know. It sounds crazy, but it's Eevee and Pikachu. You get anything with them. You know what I'm saying? Like we got Gigantamaxes, right? They got their own unique Gigantamaxes, yeah. So you could give them unique Megas, because people will love those. And then if they gave them a new Mega, they could put it into Unite, and then never know.
They have committed to Mega Revolutions, though. Like they're talking about bringing more Megas. We'll obviously. Shout out again to all of you who have sent in all of your license ideas. We're going to pick out a few of them. A lot of people have picked up on that memo. There's a lot of belief that there's going to be more Megas. Now, we were talking pre-podcast. I'm slightly concerned that this might become the new EX license in a way. But I think, honestly, as long as you are locking down, first of all, the concept of what a Mega is, into that Mewtwo Y, Mewtwo X, where it's sort of like a buffed state, but it is not completely overpowering and domineering on Theia Sky Ruins. But on top of that, if you're only limited to 1 Mega Evolution per team, much like your VG rules, with whatever the gimmick of the generation is, you're only allowed 1 of these on your team, I think, honestly, it'll be okay.
I hope so too.
Yeah, I mean, they just got to balance them, right? I mean, honestly, the Mewtwo problems were never, I think, their Mega Evolution. It was everything else around it. I mean, obviously, it was like it was a compounding problem of everything being good about the Pokemon. But I feel like the actual concept of Megas done in this game, of the whole like you eventually Mega Evolve and then you eventually Unmega Evolve, and it's like harder to control it. I think it's actually like a cool mechanic, and I'm a little bit disappointed that like we got to see it on the Mewtwo's, which, sorry, I'm gonna say it, Mewtwo's are kind of boring, like the kit design, they're pretty boring. Let's be honest. They're you hold the A button, and sometimes you're Mega'd and sometimes you're not, and it doesn't really change that much. So, but I think that the idea, if they do play around with like different things that you can do in Mega and not, and you have to deal with the resource of time as well as energy and just everything, is pretty cool, and it's not like inherently imbalanced. It's just, with Mewtwo, like we never even talk about like, oh, they're Mega'd now, because it's like, because they didn't do the same thing.
You know what? Spot on.
Oh, It would be cool if the game introduced a way where like your battle item is a Mega Stone. So like that might just be some like balance stuff. Whereas like instead of doing like the traditional X speed or eject button or full heal, if you have a mega applicable Pokemon, your battle item is a Mega Stone. So therefore, you're not using the other battle items, but you have more control of when you want to trigger that and then Mega Evolve and do something. Again, that'll be cool, but I'm sure they'll find a way to balance it somehow. Or not. And then we'll figure out the hard way. And then we have to go online and express our concerns.
No, I think that's actually a really good idea because we have so many Pokemon in the game that have Megas and don't have them in game yet, right? Like, for example, I think they've teased potentially a Machamp Mega that's coming out, and then there's like Garchomp, and there's
Soul.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot, actually. There's a ton.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, there's so many. So I think that would be a really cool addition to the game if they start updating Pokemon with Mega Forms that you have to give up an item for, or maybe even like 2 items for, something like that. That would be very cool and a new way to like refresh Pokemon that we don't get to see as much, even though we see most of those Pokemon enough.
Honestly, I'd never even thought of it that way. The idea that you can actually choose whether your Pokemon is actively able to Mega Evolve in battle. I don't think you could do it with Mewtwo X, Mewtwo Y. I think it would have to be a Rusted Swordization situation because it is so baked into the kit. It is purely a buffed state, and Mewtwo Y or Mewtwo. I mean, poor Mewtwo X is already in the bin, but Mewtwo Y without that Mega Evolution, kind of rough. I'm excited to dig into the community feelings. Before we do, I just want a round table, Bob through to Chef. So Bob, Soph, Kelo, Chef. Out of the 4 licenses that we know are upcoming, Pawmot, Empoleon, Dhelmise, and Vaporeon, which one are you most looking forward to?
Definitely
You can't
Dhelmise.
do this to me.
Dhelmise.
Dhelmise for me, yes.
Soph?
Just out of namesake, if I didn't know anything about the Pokemon, I would say Vaporeon, but knowing that it's not a supporter, I'm like... So, I'd go Dhelmise as well. I want to see those hooks, yeah.
Kelo.
See, I'm tied between Vaporeon and Empoleon. I'm very much an evolution lover. So the fact that we are getting another evolution makes me really happy, but also... Empoleon, Piplup. I love Piplup. So I'm gonna go Piplup Empoleon because I want to run around as Piplup. I already get to run around as Eevee, so.
And Chef.
Yeah.
I've decided that this podcast is when I'm just going to talk about Pokken the most that I ever have. But Empoleon is one of the final, I think, 2 or 3 Pokemon that were in Pokken that are not in Unite yet. And this game takes a lot of inspiration from Pokken as far as like movesets and animations. Like, for example, Garchomp's movesets literally 100% were in Pokken. And Empoleon had a really, really cool fun mechanic, which I think would work perfectly in this, where essentially you use Ice Beam to lay down ice patches. And when you're moving on the ice patches, these big, long, like I don't know, streaks, you can slide along and your moveset changes and you move really fast, but normally you're kind of slow, so you have to like preemptively decide where you want to go, and you're fast but you're slow, and it's just these big bursts of speed. And I think that something like that could be really cool with that Pokemon. I really want to see more of it, so I do have to say I think it's a perfect fit. It's going to do some really cool things in Unite.
Dhelmise for me. I'm an all-rounder main. Fight me. I'm actually really glad that you brought up the whole Pokken is being slowly but surely absorbed into Unite, because actually a lot of our suggestions were based on that. Just for the sake of clarity, so we are missing Weavile. We're missing technically Pikachu Libre. I'm pretty sure they're not going to go down that road. Or Shadow Mewtwo. We also have Sceptile potentially. Croagunk, which I guess would be Toxicroak. And that is honestly it, unless you want to dig into the support Pokemon. So what we're going to do, I was thinking let's do a tier list. I think I'll probably do a tier list in post. I'll go ahead, I'll do that, I'll record it for myself. It's Editing Relic is probably going to put it up like now. So there we go, everyone can see it, so on and so on. We're going to go with 3 different tiers. 3 different tiers. We're going to say, I want this in the game yesterday. I think this would be a good fit for Unite. Who let them in the kitchen?
Okay.
And I do think, honestly, we're going to have not many of those because there are so many cool Pokemon ideas out there. And shout out to all of you guys in the community. There were literally like 50 to 100 suggestions. I apologize if we don't get to yours, but we do have, I think, a pretty good list. And so at the end, we're going to try and figure out what 4 we would like to see, because of course we've got 4 already confirmed. November and December releases, they are not confirmed as of yet. And so we're going to talk about the EXP share recommended 4 licenses that we would love to see. And let's start off with one which the content cowboy has been particularly interested in. And shout out to the wonderful Rafa Cast. I know we've mentioned League of Legends a couple of times. Wonderful League caster. Ampharos, which already we're leaning into, potentially has a mega. How do we feel about Ampharos? Feels like it could cover a load of roles, actually.
Yesterday.
I want this yesterday. Give me.
It's just so cute.
I know a surprising amount of people that Ampharos is their favorite Pokemon, just in general. I didn't think it was going to be as many, but I also think it would potentially be like I feel like we've kind of run into a situation where we have a lot of like a certain types play certain roles. And I think this could be a good way to kind of break out of that and get like a defender potentially out of it. I do think it's like part of its like whole gimmick, right? Is that it like builds up like electricity in its like wool. I guess it's wool, fur, whatever it is. And so you could have something with that. It would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you want to see a cute little Mareep just going down lane.
True.
Yeah,
Yes.
that'd be so
Absolutely.
nice.
Do we think it would lean more into ranged attacks as an electric type, or do we think that it's, especially if we're looking at more all-rounder defender, more of a stage 2 tanky late game, is it more of a close range buff debuff sort of Pokemon?
I'm thinking, think about the range that you have on an Umbreon. It is melee, but it's kind of long for a melee.
Sure.
Especially when you do, your ability. So I'm thinking kind of something like that, especially with what Chef said. If it is a defender and building like electricity on his skin, on itself, it might be interesting if it's like the more it takes damage, the more like something, I don't know, kind of like a Rocky Helmet effect or something similar. It would be interesting. I don't know, or maybe the more it takes, accumulates the electricity, goes faster, or it builds as per death or something like that. That'd be cool.
So we want it yesterday.
Yes.
It's on the short list. Good job, Rafa and Spraggles. Jolteon. Spartantano, Ponyta, Lynx, and X-Gutan coming through with Jolteon. There was a singular Flareon mention. Continues to be in the mud as the least popular evolution. I cry. But I think Jolteon quite naturally slots into the speedster role. Some sort of competition for Leafeon. Certainly a lot of very cool electric-based attacks, dashes that you could utilize with this Pokemon. And it is an evolution, therefore one of the most popular Pokemon just by virtue of being associated with Eevee, right? So, pretty popular pick.
Correct.
Yeah, and it's also kind of like I think a given at this point that eventually we're going to get it. So, it's hard for me to like put that on a tier list because it's like I don't know, it would be awesome, and it definitely would be speedster. I think it has like in base Pokemon games like one of the highest base speed of any Pokemon, not literally, but one of the highest. But it'll be cool. I mean, evolutions are always scary when they release, and it would be very fun, but it'll happen eventually, right? We just gotta wait.
I'm gonna readjust this tier list to go. I want it yesterday, but I think above that we're gonna have the actual 4 that we want locked in. Because I get the impression that Jolteon's one of those things like, of course it's a good fit for Unite. It's an evolution. We should get all the evolutions. The question is, are we going to get it as an evolution so soon after Vaporeon?
Yeah, I get that. So I'd say it's a good fit, but I don't need it yesterday because, like you said, it kind of feels like it's something that's being lined up to happen anyway. So, although I do like it a lot.
Yeah. I want it now. Actually, I just give it to
Yeah?
me. I want. I actually like Jolteon a lot of the original three. I just love the design. I just love, and it just makes for a perfect, Unite Pokemon. I agree. It fits the speedster element just fine. I can see it almost like a Zero Aura with those dashes coming in and just causing
Same.
havoc. But yeah, I think it's gonna come, but I just want it now. I want my spiky baby now. That's all I want.
Spiky baby.
Perfect
Yeah.
crossover with Pocket as well. You can flip a coin in real time to see whether Pin Missile actually hits for
there
something
we
or
go.
anything. So we'll put it in the. I think that the general consensus is a good fit for Unite. We will not commit to our top 4 until we get to the end of our list. Next up, honestly wasn't expecting this, but I actually think it's kind of cool. Marowak of either the Kantoan or Alolan variety. Shout out to Spartan Tano and Zip Zip for these suggestions.
Alolan Marowak would be sick.
Agreed.
yeah.
I am all for it. With the fire spins and all of that jazz. Yeah. I don't know if I want it yesterday though.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be a good fit for Unite. But I think it'll be cool.
Yeah, I could see some cool like sort of like hybrid melee and ranged gameplay, which is I think kind of technically what it does, right? It's got the bone meringue and the then it's but it's kind of like a physical Pokemon to begin with. And definitely I feel like Alolan is a little bit more popular, right? It was like the signature Pokemon of one of the the
Kiawe.
yeah, Kelo, thank you. I am so bad at remembering names. But yeah, being a signature Pokemon there. And then also it's just like a really similar design, but Ghost, which everybody loves. And then it's just, yeah. So I think that would be cool. That'd be fun. Either way.
Zoinks is like another license to add to my collection.
Exactly.
Here's the thing though, and this is good, like push up the glasses. Lore-wise, it wouldn't make sense because as far as I'm aware, Alolan Marowak is Alolan Marowak, right? The thing is it evolves from regular Cubone. It's not like Ninetales, where it's already established. It's already an Alolan variant. I guess Pikachu kind of bucks the trend, so there is a precedent for it to be there. But is there also potentially a suggestion to have a kind of scissor split evolution, where you can choose regular Marowak or Alolan Marowak, perhaps?
Or the whole Urshifu as well, going from cub food.
Yes.
Well, do you want?
Yeah.
Whichever variant you want. So,
I think that's cool. I think it fits. Don't need it yesterday, but I think it fits.
Yeah. I think it's
Same.
also the fact that they're two different types. So regular Marowak being ground type, but then Alolan Marowak being fire ghost. So, they're two individual in that sense. So, but yeah, in that middle ground.
It's a good fit for Unite. My hot take, I'd actually quite like to see Alolan Marowak be a supporter. I think having, like, leaning into the cheerleading side of Alolan Marowak might be actually pretty cool, where you buff your team as opposed to debuffing your opponents.
We could just get Oricorio in here, just to be our cheerleaders.
True. I mean, why don't we just put Doom Snacks in the game by this point? I mean,
we could.
I was going to say, looking at its base stats, Alolan Marowak, the highest stat is its defense. So I feel like
that'll be
a
interesting.
supporter, defender type.
Yeah.
I don't really know how it works, but all right.
honestly, good left field choice. Thank you very much, Tano and Zip Zip. Back to the content cowboy, Dhelmise and Steel Agent Kyle coming in with almost certainly what would be a supporter, Jirachi.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I was just thinking, this is a true story. I was in the car thinking about this and Jirachi. And from the movie, I remember when Jirachi just made May disappear. That would be a pretty cool Unite move.
Oh, just make them disappear. Exit the lobby.
I mean, like,
Mew does it.
Bye.
Mew does it. But no, I think Jirachi makes 100% sense to be a supporter, be like having more healing, possibly, granting the wishes of the team to whether that's through buffs or anything like that. I think it'll be a great pick. I want it. I'm always here for more supporters. I think supporters are always valuable in the game, so I'm definitely here for having more supporters. So yeah, give me Jirachi. I'm down.
Do you want it,
I'm
or do
so
you want
down
it
as
yesterday
well.
though?
Yes, I want it yesterday actually.
I want
want
it
it
yesterday. Yeah, because like you said, I also feel like it's a healing supporter kind of Pokemon, and I just need more healing support.
Yes.
All right. So I know this is going to be really surprising to everybody, but I'm going to talk about Pokken again.
No way! Whoa!
I love you for
Really
that.
weird. Really weird. So Jirachi is in fact a support Pokemon in Pokken, which is like an assist. So you call them out. But a lot of the assists in that game, you bring them out and they buff you, or they heal you, or they do both, and then they just leave. And there a lot of these Pokemon that I think really fit that kind of like a lot of mythicals, right? So there'd be like Jirachi and Victini and Celebi and actually, yeah, like stuff like that where you're not really sure if they would like be full damaging movesets that make sense, but I think they make perfect supporters in Unite. And obviously, Jirachi would be a great one. Super popular. I think Mythics in general are really cool. There's a lot of people that really, like Legendaries, you can see them a lot. Mythics, it's like, all right, you kind of got to like know what they are. So yeah, I think it's a high up there pick for me too.
We won it yesterday.
Yep.
We're getting this soon. Our next one. Spraggle's coming through again alongside Firewater and Peachy. How they implement this, I don't know. Maybe it would be down to the Mega Stone item. Oh, there's that spoiler. Mega Dragonite.
Yeah.
It is Pokemon's new favorite poster child. Doesn't matter how much the internet hates it. It's really cute. I really like the design. Is it going to come in and revolutionize the current Dragonite license, though? Or would it be its own thing?
I feel like
like
Mega
the
Victory
idea.
Bell as well is the poster child over Mega Dragonite. I feel like that has a larger fan base over it. So, but just
It's a shame.
side segment. I love the design of Mega Dragonite and seeing it. I mean, spoiler alert for those that haven't caught up with the anime, but it was just featured in Pokemon Horizons. So seeing that whole evolution phase going into that mega form was actually really cool, and I just fell in love with it a lot more. But I don't know how, whether it's one of these things that I need yesterday. I feel like it would be a good fit for Unite, something they could look into for the future, but it's not something that I need right now. But it would be great to bring that hype and that tie-in to Legends EA coming out in October. So I feel like if they, timing for that type of stuff, sometimes you just got to ride that hype wave. And Mega Dragonite would actually be a pretty good fit for that.
I think I have it pretty high up in like my want list actually, because we talked about there are a lot of Pokemon that could get megas that are like already pretty good. I'm not sure if we need to see, megas. But Dragonite has been out of the meta for a long time, and I think it's got a really cool kit in both directions, like whichever moveset you choose with it. But it's just a little bit weak, and with its current iteration, I think especially with like Hyper Beam and stuff, it's hard for it not to be too good or not good enough, and like not ride that middle line. So maybe making it like a little bit on its weaker side, like it is right now, but then also giving it the ability to mega, where it's going to get some more utility or something like that, could be a really good way to like bring it back into the game, because it does stuff that literally nobody else in this game kind of does, having like a range secure and just all of its, I don't know, it's very unique. So I actually have it pretty high up. I would like that yesterday maybe.
Okay. The more you spoke, the more I was like, yeah. I was having my own ideas. I feel like that route where you have just regular, quote unquote, regular Dragonite, but it has a Mega Stone, so it's going to evolve into Mega Dragonite, having its specific moveset, but still being an all-rounder. I have Vision as well, that you could have another option where you do select it as a different license. It's not on the same thing. It's a whole different Pokemon, and it's a different role as well. That would be something cool.
Yeah.
What role would Mega? We don't know what stats Mega Dragonite would have, because it actually
True.
technically isn't out in game yet.
Yeah.
We don't
it's not
know.
playable,
Well,
right?
yeah.
So we don't know, but
Yeah.
it's just
And
if you were to give Mega Dragonite a role just based on its appearance and the vibe that it's giving, what role do you think it would be?
I get the impression that it would be added onto the Dragonite license rather than it being its own thing, because the thing about Mega Mewtwo is that it only evolves from Mewtwo. Like, we're not talking about Evo, and then you've got to Mega Evo on top of that as well. I'm gonna pull a controversial turn here. Sorry to the rest of the panel, you are being overrun. I'm going to create a new tier. Sorry, editing relic. I'm going to create a new tier called Help Me Father. This Pokemon has needed some assistance for a while. I want to see it give the Mega Evolution, and I'm automatically going to put Archaludon into that tier as well.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Because
I said that for a while.
Duraludon had its 1 month of fame. Never again. So, honestly, again, we can come back to Mega Dragonite. We can talk about whether it will be one of the 4 licenses that we see, or license updates, if you want to call it that. Definitely, I think, very cool design. I certainly would not mind seeing it on Dragonite. Something that I would certainly mind seeing, because it's one of my personal favorite Pokemon, as is the same for Black Chris Heroes and Real JCB. The Flying All-Rounder, we've all decided, Flygon.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Flygon deserves a Mega. Flygon deserves to be a Unite. Give one everything.
Just give him everything.
Flygon justice.
Flygon's cool. I just don't know how it would play. Like, I think it's a cool Pokemon, and it's usually cool when it's in things, but I'm trying to think of, like, what would tie its moveset together. I don't know if you have any concept, but I'm at a loss.
I think, controversially, I think it would be quite similar to Tinkerton, because Trapinch is a very slow little boy. Admittedly evolves into Vibrava, gets all sorts of... So I think, honestly, they might play into that. Trapinch might be very not movable. It's going to struggle early game, but once it evolves into Vibrava, you've got maybe more dash options. Maybe you've got range in Dragon Breath. I know it can also learn Hyper Beam, for example. You can maybe go for a debuff or a CC move like Sandstorm, potentially.
Yeah,
I was gonna say Flygon fits that Sandstorm narrative pretty well. So I can see it just kicking up some of that in the game, immobilizing some opponents and just kind of slowing them down. But yeah, Trapinch is cute though. Very, very adorable. Just hiding in the sand, can kind of like leap out and just have some fun. But yeah, I think Flygon will be a pretty cool addition to the game. I think it makes sense. Just like another flying mon. I always enjoy them. So give it fly also if need be. And but no, I think the yeah, definitely. I think in the game makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I want it.
It's going
Would
into
you
good fit.
imagine
Yeah.
Trapinch and Gibble in a lane together?
Perfect.
God.
Perfect.
Oh.
Give me all the chompy
The
boys.
baby.
All right.
Tiny.
I'm conscious for time, and so we're going to go into what I would like to call the starter quickfire round. We're not going to do too much discussion here. We're just going to say pure instinctual, whether we want it yesterday, whether it's a good fit, or whether they should never have been let in the kitchen in the first place. Paladin, Green, and that big boy. They want Wolfie Glick not to look at this podcast. Incineroar.
No, negative. Didn't do anything. It's a no from me.
Wow, is it our first entrant into who let them in the kitchen?
Yeah. I mean, I get why people like it. I love Litten, but it's just been in too many things. It's been in Smash. It's been in VGC for 6 million years. It's been just around. Yeah. Eventually, but not now. Not now.
Okay, I think I'm gonna jump on the same train. Yeah, just too much of the
I think it
buff
would be
cat.
a good fit, but it's like not. It would be a good fit later down the track, but it's not. You know,
That's where
if they don't
I'm
have
at
it,
too.
I'm not going to be upset.
Yeah.
That's where it's a nice to have, but I don't need it right now. I love cats. Give me all the cats,
Yes.
but
Mhm.
let Glick hold that in VGC. We don't need it right
Yeah.
now here. You know?
I don't like how Incineroar I don't like how Incineroar uses flamethrower. So I'm just going to make the executive decision 3-2. It's going in the Who Let Them Cook tier. Next up, Meganium. Shout out to Krabs, Azalea, Firewater, and Green. A lot of support behind Meganium.
Meganium, I like Meganium.
ZA crossover as well.
Yeah.
True.
I like Meganium, but then I'm also going the route of I would prefer Feraligatr. So
Yes. Yes, exactly. I was just thinking when I was looking at our runner show today, I was like,
Hold your
Feraligatr,
thoughts on
Feraligatr.
Feraligatr. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Okay. Holding,
like if I had to
holding.
choose between them, you know.
I do like Meganium though. It's a
Yeah.
cute little bean.
There
I
was,
love
uh,
Chikorita.
There was
Yeah,
some,
Chikorita is solid.
There was some
She's
suggestions that Meganium could become our first ever 2-stage supporter.
Oh,
What do you mean by that?
Oh, yeah,
like
it's also
like a 3 evolution, like you evolve
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
certainly, if the EXP share rumors are to be believed, it would certainly make that a much more viable option to put in the game. Because right now, it only makes sense to have one evolution because you're already giving over EXP to the rest of your teammates.
that's a good point.
Yeah, it could also be another like dedicated beam Pokemon potentially. I know it has a lot of like it's like a special attack I believe in actual VGC. I mean, it's not used, but in the games. Either way, it's cool. I think it definitely fits. It fits. I don't like need it immediately, but it's good.
Yeah, it fits.
Okay. Moving on to, we're going back to the Pokken list. Real JCB is back with Brandon and ex-Gutan Sceptile / Mega Sceptile.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of that thing.
I might just cut back to all of your faces. That was comical.
Well,
the
I think it has some really cool things that it can do. I just have I don't know. I have experience of fighting that thing. It was one of the best Pokemon in the entire game, Pokken, for literally start to finish. But I do think that specifically with Mega, it has a lot of really, really cool concepts where once it Megas, it has the ability, it has like all the like the seeds on its back, the bulbs on its back. And if they were to introduce a new like, you know, starter partner Pokemon alongside the Megas, I think it's a really good fit. Plus it's popular. It's quite popular as well, if I'm being honest. More than I thought it would be.
It sounds like we're leaning towards Who Let Them in the Kitchen or Good Fit.
I think it's a
Not
good
a
fit,
big
personally.
I'm not a big fan. I think it could be a good fit. I just wouldn't play it.
Same. Enjoy it.
Are we
If you all saw it in
Okay.
Pokken, though, it plays so cool. Like, if
Well,
you
I like
like
it in
like,
Pokken.
okay, hold on, maybe this thing can cook, but yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Okay, let's frame it in, are we really going to put Sceptile alongside Incineroar?
I feel like that's like the tier in between. I think it's a good fit. And Who Let Them in the Kitchen? I have no idea what you'd call it, but
Okay. Okay,
It's one of those.
editing
not- I
Relic,
think-
there's going to be a new tier, not now Sceptile. Not now.
There you go. I like that. I like
There
that.
you go. We just adding tiers as we go. We've also got the final of the Hoenn starters here from Real JCB, Oblivion, and Game Shark, Swampert / Mega Swampert.
I like Slumber a lot.
Me too.
Big fan. That feels like a pretty set in stone defender. I mean, it could be an all rounder. Anything could be an all rounder, but that feels like
Yeah.
it could very much be a defender, and it could have some really fun movesets. So that one might be the most out of the starter lighting round for me so far.
I wouldn't mind him. Yeah, I can see him being a nice defender boy in the game. I think he has pretty strong attack stats too, as well. So he can actually dish out if you want to have a more aggressive build and go in and start attacking. But yeah, I think I can be fine with him better than Sceptile by a mile.
I'm with you there, Bob, as well. I would put Swampert above Sceptile.
Into good fit.
In
Yeah.
terms of how soon I would
Yeah.
want it.
Yeah, exactly. I agree as well. I feel
Also
like
Mudkip.
it would
Yeah.
Mudkip's
Mudkip.
lovely. Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel
exactly.
I feel like Feraligatr is the more popular of the water options, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it a yesterday pick?
I need it yesterday. That's my boy right there. I need it. I need Feraligatr and I need Totodile.
I do love the
yesterday.
chumpy boys.
I love Totodile, but Feraligatr is like not as cool as Totodile to me. I like Totodile
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Can it just be another Psyduck situation where it doesn't need to evolve? It just stays
Just
as Totodile?
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, let's give me then Totodile and Fuecoco, just straight out basic.
I think also with Feraligatr and Meganium, we're kind of assuming that they are going to get Megas in ZA. Right?
Oh,
So
yeah,
it has to be.
there are
it makes sense.
I mean, listen, you're out there on the internet. There are people who are claiming that they know exactly what these things are going to look like. I think that if they are going to introduce Megas as a more common concept in Unite, we might have to take that into consideration. Then again, I love the suggestion. I love Totodile, of course, classic Ash Ketchum Pokemon as well. Didn't ever evolve. You know, is a great personality. So, a yesterday pick.
It's just a good fit for me personally, but I could.
Yeah, it's a
everybody
good
can
fit for
vote
me too. Yeah.
Good fit. Okay, we'll put it into good fit. And final of this starter Pokemon Lightning round before we return to the final choices here, of which there's like maybe 5 or so. Quite a controversial one, I would imagine, given its place in Pokemon in general. Axe and Green, Mega Charizard X and or Y.
I think it's kind of similar to what we said before. Although I do think that Mega Charizard X is super popular and Mega Charizard Y is never seen anywhere ever. That's just the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, sure, I would love to see it. The thing is, it could be kind of scary. I don't know. Like that's one that they could also introduce to where like just once Charizard uses its Unite, it becomes Mega while it's flying around, and then it's the Unmegas where it doesn't necessarily need to be a full gameplay thing, maybe. But I don't know. Charizard's already pretty complicated, so it's hard for me to say that I want to switch it up too much because it's pretty good right now.
I agree. And honestly, when I think of like Mega Charizard, it's rather scary. So I'm like, oh no. I would look at it in game and be like, that's broken. That has to be broken. On the other hand, as well, you could have it look very scary but do nothing at all, which is also funny. So.
Gentle Giant.
Yeah, just big.
New tier, big.
Big.
Big. Yes,
Oh,
correct.
big.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Does that go above Not Now Sceptile or below Not Now Sceptile?
Above.
Above, yeah.
Above Not
I would
Now
rather,
Sceptile.
yeah.
Okay. Right.
I would
I
rather
prefer
see Sceptile
Charizard.
added than Charizard getting something new, personally. But
Oh.
I'm outvoted.
Okay.
I think the thing is Charizard, when you think about the fan base, is very popular.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I feel like if they did end up bringing Mega Charizard in, that would be really great for the fan base. Personally,
Mhm.
I don't want it yesterday. I think it's going to be a good fit, but I know that, a lot of people, would definitely want to see Charizard, Mega
a good
Charizard
point.
in there.
Right, Krabs and Kyle coming through. We've got 1, 2, 3. We'll say 4 more, and then we'll decide on our 4 to go through before we wrap this one up. As thank you if you have listened to all of it. Otherwise, don't worry. There's chapters for a reason, right? Krabs and Kyle, Skarmory.
Ooh.
I actually love that pick. I think that's
Yeah.
such a cool idea.
I like Skarmory. Skarmory was one of the Pokemon on my team So I really like Skarmory. I think it would be really cool. So, but it's not one that I'm like, I need now. I want it yesterday. I think it would be a good fit. Is where I'm.
I like it.
leaning.
Yep. Same way. I think it has that Unite-esque design. It's again flying. I love my Flymons in in Unite, but it's just a cool it's a cool Pokemon. I think it'll have a time to shine in the game, but I'm agree with Kelly. I don't think I need it now. It's just it's a nice to have in the future.
I think I might have it on my need it now. I think that's a really cool pick.
Ooh.
I also feel like we are. I don't remember the exact stats of like what typing we have represented or not, but I do feel like we are lowest on steel Pokemon. Right? We only have like 4 or something like that in the game right now.
Steel Agent Kyle
Ugh,
was
I'm pretty
particularly
sure.
aggrieved by the lack of steel types. I will say that much.
Yeah.
Oh
There
yeah.
are not
I
that
have
many.
a whole Google Doc with all of the typings and everything like that.
Of course you
so,
do.
yeah. But no, I'm pretty sure it's no, ground and rock types
Ooh.
Really?
are lacking, and poison as well.
Poison,
So, steel types
Yeah,
are actually we have quite a few steel types: Scizor, Duraludon, Aegislash, Lucario, Zacian, Metagross, and Tinkaton.
Oh,
Yeah, I
that's
forgot
So-
about Metagross.
That's more
Yeah,
than I
I think
expected.
they're all kind of bad. Not all of them, but they're buffed. That's the problem.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, I need Tinkaton buffs right now. That's in my need it yesterday. But yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Still though, I still think Skarmory is probably in my need it yesterday. I think it would be really, really cool.
Okay, we'll put it in good fit, and we'll add Tinkaton, but properly this time with a bit of oomph
Yeah.
into Needed
Yeah.
Yesterday.
What a bit of
I'm sure that Chef will have a feeling about this. In fact, I'm pretty sure that this will be a very popular pick for everyone. OM Pilot and Whipper, Weavile.
Oh,
correct.
Yeah.
Next. Correct answer.
We've all would be cool. But the question is, what do you do in regards to potentially Sneasler?
No,
right?
No, I don't want that.
You know, on
boy
Sneasler,
anywhere near.
I
video
love
games anymore.
Sneasler.
Sneasler's
Love
cool.
Sneasler so
Yeah.
much.
No,
I love it so much. I know VGC people
I
are
don't
annoyed at
want
it
to
right
be
now, but
Nezuko. Why would I want to be Nezuko and put my life in the hands of that thing?
it's
going up
so
a mountain?
funny. It's such a good concept. Plus, there's that whole video that one made about the Sneasler stuff. But I just think Sneasler's hilarious. Regardless, Weavile's amazing. It's super cool. It's a signature speedster, right? I mean, it's gonna be speedster. It's gonna have knockoff. It's gonna have just a lot of the classic Weavile things. It's pretty well made for this game. It needs to happen soon.
Yes. That's a yesterday for me. Yeah, for me it's a yesterday.
That's a yes as well.
Goes into the yesterday. Brandon and Teku. Now, I'll be honest, Brandon came at me with any of the Hitmons. Fair enough. But we're going to zone in on Teku's particular suggestion of Hitmon Top.
Ooh, Spinny Boy.
Spinny Boy.
That would be cool. I feel like the concept would be really cool, but it's not a. Oh my gosh! I really want to play Hitmontop now. It's not.
I totally see Hitmontop being one of the wild Pokemon in the jungle.
Oh my god, you're so right. You're so right. Sorry, another new tier relegated to NPC.
NPC tier. Yep.
NPC.
Farm. Yeah.
Farm. Okay, we're just calling it farm. There's like this simple as.
It's farm.
Sorry, Brandon. Sorry,
Farm.
Teku.
They're
You've just
called
created the
creeps
next
now.
farm.
I mean, at least it's in the game, right?
It's in the game,
It's not playable. Yeah.
And finally, from Chella and Lynx, a good old classic to finish us off. Arcanine.
Yes.
Yes.
He's a cute boy. He's a good boy.
Which one though?
Yeah, it's tough.
They did.
Ooh,
They did.
I
mean,
tough.
they didn't specify Hisuian Arcanine, and I do have a particular. We were talking about more rock types.
Yeah. I think we need more regional variant representation So I love Arcanine Gen 1, obviously, but I think, we have the 2 Alolan representatives, Ninetales and Raichu. It would be really cool to see Hisuian Arcanine in there. So I'm gonna say I need it yesterday.
Me too.
That is one I would love to have.
Yes, the floof is immaculate.
Yes.
There's like a concept that I've wanted to see for a while, which actually fits into this and the previous one, where I would like to see like multiple Pokemon as one Pokemon. And I know the Hisuian Growlithe concept is that they always travel in packs of 2, right? Because they're supposed to be like the kind of like stone lion things that guard the gates at temples. That's their like inspiration. So it'd be really cool to see like 2 of them, and then you evolve, and maybe you just like only one of them is there, or it's like one that's evolved and one that doesn't, or something would be really cool. I was gonna say the same thing actually about the last one with the Hitmons. Like it'd be cool if like it was like Hitmon top, Hitmon, all
So, like,
3
you start
and,
as
like,
Tyro.
one.
One Lee.
Yeah.
One
The problem
Char.
is I don't think
Well,
they're ever going to put baby Pokemon in to make
No,
that,
I was gonna say they're just all standing next to each other.
Wait, just
and
a-
one
just
of
a
your
gang of
moves is
guys?
One
Like a
Pokemon.
pack.
Yeah, like
Oh,
3
just
guys.
a gang of guys.
We've already got a gang of guys in the game, right?
We have feelings, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's
But-
Phalanx and then there's literal men. I mean, you might as well
Yeah.
say put Sork and Throw in the game.
Sock and throw would be awesome in the same way.
The Phoenix are little
move
men.
you has. So like imagine you choose one move and it's all the sock moves, and then you choose another move and it's all the
Yes.
throw moves, and
Yes.
then the unite move is they combine and they do like an attack together
Yes.
on something.
Tag
come on.
team.
It's a good idea.
Tag team. That is literally
Yes.
the concept there. They had it in the I mean, I don't know. Did they have that in Pokken? Kind of thing, like a tag team thing? I know
not
they have the
exact kind of.
TCG tag team cards. So that's kind of,
I
that
need
is
that.
kind of a concept in Pokemon. That
I
would be
need
really
that.
cool. I love it.
I'm thinking, for example, you mentioned the Growlithe and Arcanine situation, like working in paths, in packs. It reminded me of the dog, like wolf-like champion in League of Legends, Naafiri. She does have like a little pack of hers. So if there was something like that in the game, it would be really cool if we just a couple of Growlithes do remain as Growlithes, but then you have Arcanine just leading the pack. It like.
Where are we
Yes.
putting Arcanine / Hisuian Arcanine then?
Won it yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yesterday.
Okay.
Yes, for yesterday.
All right. Well, I mean, that's a really cool concept. I'd love to see them do something with that. So, and I think there's a lot of Pokemon which the whole like gang. I mean, goodness, Tandemaus would be perfect for that. No, I mean, anyway.
It's my number one
So
pick,
silly and cute.
actually.
Unfortunately, Tandemaus did not get any suggestions from the community. So
Wild.
Oh,
I know.
I know
it's
Danko
crazy.
would have requested that one.
Danko was
Well,
too
true,
late
yeah.
no, but yeah, there was a load of great suggestions. Honestly, too many. We didn't even mention Toxicroak or Croagunk, the last of the Pokken stuff. But we have to decide now on the definitive community. This is absolutely going to be the 4 licenses that we get in November and December from this list. To refresh our panel: Ampharos, Jolteon, Alolan Marowak, Jirachi, Mega Dragonite, Flygon, Incineroar's in the bin, Meganium, Skarmory, Weavile, Sceptile, Swampert, Hitmontop, or I guess the Hitman Men, Arcanine / Hisuian Arcanine, Mega Charizard, and Feraligatr.
I thought we were only picking from the yesterday list.
So it could be a good fit. This is now us using our heads. Which licenses are they actually going to put in the game? Like
I
our
see.
estimation.
Are we all
Weavile?
picking 4 each?
Yeah, I was going to say
Like, is
Weavile
it
has to be.
four-
What? So it's the 4 that are coming after Vaporeon that we're predicting here now. From this
Or is it
list.
like a collective effort is what I'm saying?
Yes.
Or are we each saying what
It is
we
a
think
collective
our
effort.
4
Okay.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. And I do think that chefs come in straight with Weavile. I think that now would be a great time for Weavile, personally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's coming eventually, right? So might as well just put on that list. I think we also all quite like it. But I feel like we have to choose something with megas, right? If we're gonna say
Yeah, I'd
what's
say
coming
Mega
next.
Dragonite.
Agreed. So you think they're going to commit to Mega Dragonite? I mean,
do want that.
they've said 4 licenses. That's the one thing that makes me question if
Yeah.
Mega Dragonite's going. I mean, Mega Dragonite
That's
could
what
by
I
all means
mean.
come
Coming
to
in
the
with a
game,
new role.
but will
Just
it
saying.
be one of the 4 licenses?
That is a tough question. I do think it would be cool for it to be a different role, or I don't know. It's so hard. It's so hard to guess what they're gonna do with all the Pokemon that don't have megas. I think I agree with that though. I think that there's no way that it isn't represented in some form in the next like I don't know, however many months. It's like the first new mega that they've announced. It's like almost like a signature Pokemon for the
It
game
really
now.
is.
So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think
Well,
that's a safe bet.
I think can we agree to commit to Mega Dragonite, and if it isn't a license, if it is like some unknown mechanic, we didn't know what that mechanic was.
Yeah.
And so therefore we can just shirk all responsibility on that one.
Sure.
Okay.
That sounds good.
So we got Weavile, we've got Mega Dragonite. I'm going to propose Jolteon in there. I think that we're getting Vaporeon. I would not be surprised if both Jolteon and Flareon are not too far behind.
Yeah, I can see a lot of marketing around having the evolutions in there, having the Kanto evolutions in there. So from a marketing perspective, they can easily set that up to say, yep, they're all here now. And I think those are the last 3, right? That we have?
Yep.
Yeah.
The
So
year of
then
the Eevee
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well.
that, you know what? Right there, what Kelly just said is enough evidence that I think Jolteon
Yeah,
will be in there.
I was just going to say that too.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Weavile.
It's got to be this year.
I mean, I think we've kind of got our hands tied behind our back here. I'd go out on a limb and I'd say I think Flareon's going to be one of those last 4 licenses as well. Flareon's didn't make the shortlist. It was recommended. There were 50 recommendations. We were going to be here all night if we went through all of those.
Yeah.
But we have Jolteon, we have Mega Dragonite, and we have Weavile. Let's pick a 4th license that we think is most likely to be added.
But not
But
Flareon?
before-
Not
Yeah,
Flareon.
before we continue, I was going to suggest actually that we, like, when we say Flareon, we're actually including, when we say Jolteon, we're actually including Flareon in the same package because it's the EV, like, mentality.
Sure.
We could attach Jolteon by proxy. And then that covers our bases if Mega Dragonite isn't a separate license.
All
There
right.
you go.
Fair.
There you
Fair.
go.
We're
figuring
picking
this
a
out.
sub.
So
Yeah.
we're picking the sub, yeah. I'm leaning towards some of the more popular community picks from throughout the years. Your Amphoroses, Jirachi, Flygon. I think Sceptile has to be in the conversation purely from the Pokken link.
I would
either
say, yeah.
Meganium or Feraligatr.
Me too,
Because of
Kelly.
ZA?
Me too.
Starters.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel
Mm.
That's
like
my
they
thought
need,
as
as I
well.
said, they need to ride that wave. So,
Yeah.
one of those. I don't know which one. Can
I'd
we
say
just put those
Feraligatr.
together as well?
I would wager if it was
Put those together. Yeah, yay!
Then we cover all bases. One of
I'd
them.
wager if it was either of those two. Sorry for alligator mains out there. I think it would be Meganium, because think about the release cadence. We've got Empoleon coming up. We've got Vaporeon
Yeah.
coming up. That's already
Yeah.
2 water types in
Water.
the space of 4 months.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Boo.
And listen, if they, again, going back to that point of if they are adding EXP share as a permanent background passive for defenders and supporters, it does give them license to run Meganium as the first 2-stage supporter. And I think that that would be such a cool thing to do. And again, we're not even considering the idea of this thing could have a Mega by then, in which case they might want to implement a Mega into Meganium. So I'm down to throw that in as the quote-unquote 4th choice if everyone else is aligned.
Yeah.
I
My
have
only
to make I was going to say, I
no.
have to make a side note here. We are putting so much focus on Meganium and Feraligatr. Embor? No love for Empoleon. But but yeah, I know that wasn't part of the list anyway, but I just thought that was funny.
I think
One-
I
okay.
think honestly though, we know full well why Meganium and Feraligatr have that 30-plus-year-old nostalgia going for them. They are Gen 2, they are certified classic at this point.
Mhm.
And as much as I will put my flag in the ground here, Gen 5 is one of the best, if not the best gen of Pokemon ever. And Empoleon was a part of that. Shout out to Superior and Samurott, whatever. But I think that
Samurott would be
just
sick.
for appealing to the crowd that we know plays Unite, and especially those who are invested in Unite content, it is that older 20s to 30s range. And I just think Meganium hits a lot better for them than Empoleon.
On top
The
of Meganium actually starts with Mega. So
It's true.
just saying.
Oh, true.
Mega.
Meganium.
Ooh.
My only other thought, aside from obviously these starters, would be since we're getting Groudon, and continuing on with this sort of like Gen 3 map objective thing, like Jirachi fits pretty well too. If we
Sure.
were going to try to hit, Jirachi and then eventually Kyogre in some way, or Kyogre, I don't know. Don't talk to me about pronunciation.
We only know Rayquaza.
So that would be a potential argument for Jirachi as well. Although they could also do something like Jirachi ends up being a different objective or something. But I think that fits pretty well. But I think also, the Megas seem to be the main focus, so it certainly makes sense.
I honestly think that Jirachi might come as a Pokemon Day release.
Ooh.
Yeah, that would fit really well.
Love that.
I would personally throw Victini in there as well. I think Victini would be a really cool choice for Mythical. But there's our 4. I mean, you got the full tier list, everyone. You can see our 4 Jolteon / Flareon, because you got to throw the dog a bone, I guess, at some point. Weavile.
I was the dog.
Meganium, and we've also oh goodness, I've forgotten which other one we went with.
Dragonite, Mega Dragonite.
It was Mega Dragonite. Yes, correct. Right. So those are our 4. Thank you so much for all of your submissions. We're hoping to do these sorts of community involvement questions, discussions for every single podcast, of which is probably worth mentioning at this point that we're looking to do this bi-weekly. We're not always going to have news to talk about, but what we will certainly have is a lot of people to talk about and their experiences with the game, outside of the game. So be sure to look forward to and subscribe for each new episode as it comes out. We'll have a recurring cast, as I say, so it's not going to be this mega panel every single time, maybe for an emergency episode or maybe for a really special occasion, maybe for my birthday or something, I don't know. But it's been a long one, whether you were tuning in for certain parts or whether you watched through all of it. Thank you so much. Genuinely, it is such a privilege to be part of this community. And thank you so much for your enthusiasm and excitement for more Unite content. I think I speak for everyone when I say that we look at what's on the horizon for Unite, and we are all very, very genuinely excited. And goodness knows what the future holds, but I think it's pretty bright sitting where we're from. So let's go around the table, shall we? Final notes, final thoughts from everyone. We'll start with Bob. What are you most excited about for Season 5 of UCS / the next year, Year 5 of Pokemon Unite?
What am I most excited about? Man, that's a good question. Listen, I'm just excited for more new like licenses, obviously, but also just new, hopefully, side games coming to to Unite. So give me more volleyball, give me auto chess, possibly, hopefully, but I know those are wishes. But I think the safe answer is just the new strategies that will come out with Groudon. I think I'm excited to see that play out. So I'm really excited to see how teams adapt to that and how they formulate their strategies to in late game. So late game should be much more exciting now. So bring it on.
Sophchan.
I mentioned I'm all about competitive. I'm all about like playing the main game, and I am totally in agreement with you, Bob. just Groudon and how he can, and it has the potential to shake up things in a very positive way, is super exciting. And what I'm most excited about is that, plus how we're going to be navigating the league system for 2026.
Kelly, nodding in approval. Are you in full agreement?
Yeah, 100%. My brainwave is pretty much aligned with Bob and Soph here. Excited for Groudon and all the shakeup that is to come in terms of Unite, along with just how UCS season number 5 is going to end up looking like. And yeah, obviously there's going to be a lot of changes there, which I'm sure we'll end up talking in a future episode, right? But
I would think so.
I'm really, really looking forward to just everything.
Great answer. Chef, can you top everything?
Well, the thing that I'm most excited for was to go last so that every single person chose all of my answers already, and I now know what I have anything to say.
We're just so aligned.
I was really hoping nobody was gonna. I was gonna say the exact same thing. I was like, well, I'm a sweaty gamer, so I'm really excited for the league. And then you said nearly the same thing, but nicer. But that is definitely going to be one of the biggest switches. But I mean, theoretically, we're going to have, big orgs. I truly don't know anything about it. Nobody pretend that I'm spoiling anything because I genuinely have no idea. But theoretically, we're gonna have like bigger orgs and teams that actually stick together for more than 1 month. Yes, I'm talking to you teams out there.
Yeah,
and
they're not gonna forget to sign up. Everybody.
It's true. It's true.
Evolving teams. Everything about it is something that's going to be completely new to everybody, and I think we're going to be able to get a lot more fandoms of teams, like we've seen from Luminosity and Nouns, for example, and the like regional representatives. But we're going to get that within our own league, so it's going to be really fun. And honestly, there's just so many question marks for everything with Unite, but it's all good question marks. So I'm excited.
I could not echo those thoughts anymore, and I do agree with all of you guys, but I think especially after tonight and the 2 hours of podcast that we've done, I'm really looking forward to making more podcasts with you guys. I think this has been so wonderful, so lovely, and we hope that you guys have enjoyed it too. Subscribe for more content. It's not just going to be the podcast. I'm hopefully going to do some like modern day guides for Pokemon. Maybe I'll come up with some other ideas. Who knows? Be sure to follow all of these guys. You can find all of their socials in the description below. Be kind to yourself. Enjoy Pokemon Unite while you can. Help out a friend. You're their backup after all. They've been them. I've been Relic. And from all of us here, it is a very warm goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.